Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mac and D. I am joined, as always, by James Ian Pierce. How you doing, James?
Don't love that one. Love that I'm feeling much better today than I was last week when we were going to record. I'm also glad to see that you're not in your room, you're in your living room. So hopefully your internet's not absolute hot dog water.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand internet clearly. Work for an internet company, don't understand the way it works. Irony, right? I don't know what is wrong with it because I had a Spectrum guy come out here. I think the indictment truly is on him, and he replaced a lot of the wiring. But here we are. I still can't do anything in my room. Like it literally just drops every 5 seconds. So we're in the living room today. I'm so like crazy about how I look when it comes to being on the podcast, and I really shouldn't worry about it so much because it's just not that deep. But I don't have the microphone audio today, so I'm probably going to sound a little less crisp, but and then the visual's a little bit different, but I'll just be hunched over this laptop in the living room. This is what the professionals do too anyway
The
nowadays, is the
real
casuals
question,
in.
correct. I said the real question is, at what point do we upgrade to where it's basically just filming from your laptop as you and I are laying back on a couch and it's just that crotch level camera? Because I feel like the most successful podcasters do that.
Exactly. The whole goal is to be nonchalant, right? That's what the
Mhm.
kids are into. That's what they
The
say
bros got to
nowadays.
know we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Also, timeout too. You texted me right before this about some of my language, speaking of just being in the modern era. I
Hmm.
said KK and respond
Hmm.
to your text, an informal way to say okay. And you said that is not of my era. And I
It's
totally
not.
disagree. What are the thoughts there?
Well, I was looking at that. I'm like, dog, I haven't said that since like junior high. And if I haven't said it since junior high, you would have been an embryo at best. It's like there's no way that was in your vernacular. But apparently, things just get to Springfield, Missouri a little bit slower than Catlin, Illinois.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I use KK growing up sometimes too, and then honestly, the person I get it from the most is my little brother Drew, and he's even younger. So yeah, like you're saying, it must have skipped a generation or something like that and worked its way back up. Things go out of style, and now things in the '90s are hip again. So I don't know, man. I use it on occasion, not commonly, but I was texting with Drew today, and so it just was top of mind. That'll be our poll question. Text me or James if you're listening to this podcast, so we know you listen
Hmm.
on if you use KK and regular text or if that's
Yeah.
taboo.
And Mac, we only have a finite period of time because obviously you got to get moving here. Let's just high level. What's been the most painful injury for you personally this season?
Honestly, James, and I wanted to get into it on the podcast. We're starting with scars and bars, right? I think the most painful injury I've seen is the one that I saw you go through last week. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Much, like I said, much better this week. For those that don't know, appendectomy out of nowhere, rough start to last week, but I'm moving around. I mean, you saw me at work the past 2 days. Like I'm moving around fine. I'm not really in any pain other than if I like accidentally get out of a chair or bed wrong. But no, things, modern medicine, much appreciated because things are pretty chill.
I want the record to show that I, non-bodybuilder Matthew Mack, am now currently able to lift more than bodybuilder James Dutton. I just want that to be on the record. I need a trophy. I need something in writing. I need some
Hmm.
documentation here so people know. Yeah, I think we've kind of hit the part of the season where there are truly just back-to-back brutal injuries. The one that hit me the hardest and hit me the most was truly the Malik Neighbors one. That one just came out of nowhere. It really felt uncalled for. And it was just on a terrible Jackson Dart throw that he probably shouldn't have even tried to go attempt to get. He kind of turned around, twisted wrong. Cleat got kind of stuck in the grass that they have at MetLife Stadium. And next thing you know, he's out for the season, torn ACL. Sophomore season didn't even get started really going into his second year here. So I think that was the most brutal and, is probably going to hurt fantasy teams the most too because he was just such a high draft pick and he's out for the entire season. I think that has to be the most brutal one, right?
Yeah, and I can't even imagine. There's got to be someone out there that went like CD Lamb round one, Malik Neighbors round two. Those people have to be on suicide watch right now. So it's tough. I think to your point too, the Malik one's the worst. CD, right? He'll come back. His is the most frustrating because it's like you pay the guy $40 million. Why on God's green earth is he doing a zone read out of the backfield? Like It's the Bears. He could walk down 15 yards downfield and be open for a 15-yard gain, right? Like, why are we giving him carries out of the backfield? So dumb. Evans is old, like it happens. He's always been kind of banged up. This one just is a little worse than usual. Najee's is tough because it might be a career ender. Like he was already losing explosiveness and the Achilles popped.
And his
Tyreek,
vision too for Najee Harris losing his
right?
eye.
Yeah, no shit. Tyreek feels kind of like catharsis, right? Like this is what every kid wants to do to Tyreek is break his bones. So like now it kind of came back to him. Kalijah Cansey doesn't matter for fantasy, hurts any Bucks fan. Pearsall, what happened to him? I know he got hurt halfway through the game, but like it was like he was playing fine, maybe like a 10-point day, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, by the way, he's not touching the field like the next month. I have no idea what happened to Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, it said that they might end up putting him on IR, which just kind of elevates Juwan Jennings, who's also beat up. So the whole situation in San
If they
Francisco
could
is getting dire.
rush, so if they could rush Ayuk back, that would be terrific. But I don't know if you saw Shanahan was quoted saying he is not close to getting off IR anytime soon.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the theme this week too. And response is just like, how are some of these teams going to be able to make up for the fact that some of these guys are hurt? And yeah, coaches are like, yeah, the reinforcements they ain't coming. Yeah, so Ricky Pearsall with Brandon Ayuk, he's also still banged up. And then probably the craziest one, which has a ton of fantasy implications, is the D'Amico Ryans was asked for an update on, hey, what's the timetable look like for Joe Mixon? And D'Amico Ryans is like, we don't have one. We don't know.
Yeah.
He could be back tomorrow. He could be back 10 years from now. We have genuinely no clue, which Woody Marks and Nick Chubb are obviously the big beneficiaries of there, as well as Damian Pierce or Jamesian Pierce, which is why I brought him up today. Looking at some of
Nice.
the other injuries that went around down this past week, too. Uh, Ouch City population U, if you will. We had Lamar Jackson get a hamstring injury. They're saying that might end up being a 2 to 3 week injury. He ended up, of course, leaving the Chiefs game a little bit early and wasn't able to return. That means it is Cooper Rush season fully. And then also Braylon Allen last night on Monday Night Football sprained his MCL. They're saying that IR is pretty likely for him. They have some good backups though in New York, so that probably won't end up affecting them too much on a real life basis. The Tyreek Hill injury, as you mentioned, was tad cathartic. It was also wild because he had a wild reaction that we hadn't seen. You know, we have, of course, Malik Neighbors screaming in pain. It's terrible. It's like watching a horror movie. Tyreek Hill was like laughing and like smiling as as he got off the
So
field.
I saw some armchair doctors talk about that. That's the sign of someone that has like manic episodes. Like they're like that's pretty spot on for an actual insane person because they like their brain doesn't comprehend normal cues correctly. So he's like laughing and like screaming with like a smile on his face rather than just being in pain like a normal human being. So
Yeah, laughing
uh
as if he's not going to hell himself, you know? So, damn.
yeah, let's be fair, right? Like we might never see Tyreek Hill play football again. I
Yeah.
mean, that looked like a minimum 2 year injury. His knee was facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, it was a fun couple years in Miami, realistically, and yeah, I mean, he just may never be the same after this. The speed was the big thing for him, and having a true dire injury like that might just be the thing that
Yeah,
fully saps him of that full ability.
yeah, especially right. Anything lower body, he can't come back from. Shoulder, don't care. Hand stuff, don't care. But like, he
Yeah,
needs those legs.
yeah. So
We don't have it on here. There's some like interesting trades though, right? So we're talking like who are the most dire teams would be like San Francisco needs weapons more than anyone else, and they're 3-1, so they're in a spot where they're still in the hunt, right?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
is there who's the? I'm trying to think. There's like a second team that's just like, dear God, who are they even throwing the ball to? But it's kind of slipping my mind. But
I could see Houston going out and getting a second receiver,
okay,
even though their schedule, they're 1-3 after 4 weeks. Same record
Mhm.
as the Baltimore Ravens. Insane. Also, I have a fly going over my camera. I don't know if you just saw
Nice.
that. That was crazy.
But a thing that just kind of floated in my mind, like the Titans are awful, right? They
Mhm.
might as well just exclusively target and use rookies. Get Elik Eonemeyer, however you say his name, as many targets as possible. If you're the Niners, would you float a fifth rounder for Calvin Ridley and just see if it works for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if anybody's going to be able to have good chemistry with a Brock Purdy, I think that that would make a ton of sense. And yeah, I mean, the wide receiver core in Tennessee is just stupid. It makes no sense that they're going absolutely nowhere. They're already calling for Brian Callahan's head in Tennessee. I think Calvin really is a very logical trade target, and he's not insane when it comes to the salary either. So he's done absolutely nothing this season, which we will get into whenever you're doing our
Mhm.
quarter
Yeah.
season
Let's
check-in.
let's hit your bars, dude. I like these ones. I actually did see a couple of them this week, so I feel good.
Absolutely. So yeah, so we have scars, we have bars. I don't know. I just started doing this. It's just like a little quotable thing that we have on here. Just the best quotes from around the NFL. This one's from 2 weeks ago because we didn't get it recorded last week because of somebody's random organ just decided to explode for some reason. We had Chris Collinsworth on Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs had a fumble. Patrick Mahomes threw a backwards lateral towards Pacheco, and then Mahomes ran over to recover the fumble. And everybody's normal reaction was, Mahomes, why'd you throw a backwards pass that was not all that catchable? And Chris Collinsworth, the announcer, comes up and says, "What an incredible fumble recovery, a true heads up play." And it's like, Collinsworth, why? Like, he didn't do anything good. Like, obviously, sunk costs make up for your mistake, but geez, dude, the glazing is insane. You're not beating the allegations. The second one comes from Cam Ward. He said, after losing this past week, he said, "If we keeping it a buck, we ass." And I thought that was really real and honestly appreciated coming out of Tennessee, back to back really terrible seasons. And this last one I didn't attribute, and I wanted to see if you could guess who said it. The quote is, "Teams shoot themselves in the foot, then we come back and shoot ourselves in the head." Who said that, James?
Is this a player, commentator, or coach?
Player.
Player. This is a Lamar quote.
No, this is from
Okay.
a player that is similarly from a terrible team this season in terms of record. This is Brees Hall said this quote.
Okay. I honestly, I'm in on Brees then now. I love that quote.
Yeah, no, truly, it's incredibly real and, makes his stock higher, which
Hmm.
is exactly what we're going to be talking about here with our quarter season
Well,
check-in.
dude, I just to help out, I have a bar this
Oh, you
week.
have a
I
bar.
I, I have a bar.
Lay it down.
Let's
Put it
see if you
on.
can. We'll see if you can figure out who said this. But there was a horrific personal foul call, right? And the commentator says, kind of like, oh, like kind of joking, like, oh, that was just disgusting, etc. So then the guy steps over the other player and he goes, "Man, I hate to say it, but you got to fight the urge to reach your right hand up there and give him a shot." Literally saying, "I would punch that guy in the balls right now." Who do you think on their broadcast was more or less indicating they get it if a guy wants to punch someone else in the balls?
Oh, that sounds like a competitive person. I have to guess that's either JJ Watt or Tom Brady. Lean Brady.
Both amazing guesses, and it was in fact Tom Brady.
Let's go. Dude, he's whenever he's just more conversational, he really grew
It's
us
he's
on me as a
amazing.
commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whenever he's like trying to be somebody he's not, aka like a real statue, it doesn't work very well, and it looks as
Yeah.
plastic as his face. So on our quarter season check in here, I have a lot of players that are either overperforming or underperforming their ADP one direction or the other. We're basically just going to do a quick, hey, are we in or out on these guys? And we're going to be starting with the wide receivers. We're 4 games in, James. The NFL, of course, is now at a 17 game schedule. It used to be 16. So, like, that quarter season check in was very clean. We could actually glean some information. And I just want to remind people, too, like, there's a reason that we do this. Like last year, 4 games in, Cole Kmet was a top five tight end. We had Adam Thielen, who was like a top five receiver. Things change very quickly in the NFL, and knowing what's real and what's not can really be the difference maker between your season being good or terrible. So, starting with the wide receivers, we're going to start with maybe one of the most controversial players in the NFL in terms of, hey, is he good or not? Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I'm still on Travis Hunter. I don't love his kind of ambiguity on is he defense, is he offense? Like if they just gave him a consistent snap count week in, week out, it would help. But like I even told you this week, like he made an incredible over the middle stretch out type catch. Like the talent is there. They just haven't figured out how to quite use him just yet. But like you and I both love rookies, especially back half of the season. He's just like a trade target at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree with everything he said. He only had 2 targets in week 3, but that went back up to 5 in week 4. He played 69% of snaps, nice, in week 3, and then actually was benched on defense in week 4. So that's an interesting development. I think he's only going to be moving on the up despite the terrors that are going on with that Jacksonville Jaguars offense. I'm still very excited for the talent level there. Next up, Lad McConkey, and honestly, I'm going to loop in a second one, Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, honestly, this is for McConkey. It's more of the situation. Like I believe in the talent. I think Keenan Allen's body probably doesn't hold up the whole season. Like you and I were talking earlier. I think the issue right now is McConkey plus Keenan Allen are just producing at McConkey levels last year. So like McConkey is half in McConkey right now. I think he'll come back into it. QJ, if he was only getting 6 targets, 4 targets a game and putting up these numbers, I'd be concerned. He went 8 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets, 13 targets. Like he is Herbert's dude. It feels very real.
Yeah, it feels like in this year too, the offense, they've kind of realized that, hey, we just don't have a ton of time to get the ball out there, especially with a lot of the offensive line injuries. We saw Joe Holt get carted off. We've, of course, seen Rashawn Slater in the preseason get hurt. And it feels like that's really benefiting the deep ball guy, Quentin Johnson, who just kind of gets those moonshots from Justin Herbert deep on the hashes. And so Ladd McConkey so far this season is wide receiver 56. Quentin Johnson is a top five wide receiver so far, 4 weeks into the season, as we all predicted. I'm kind of out on Ladd McConkey. I kind of feel like that this downturn is a little bit more real than a lot of other people think. I wouldn't necessarily like be going out to trade for him, is basically what this means. Despite him kind of being a bit of a buy low, and I'm in on QJ. You pointed out the targets to me either today or yesterday, and it's like crazy the progression, all the way from 8 up to 13 now. That is a huge target share. I am all the way in on QJ. Next up, Romeo Dobbs for the Green Bay Packers.
I just don't want any Packer receiver that's not named, Tucker Kraft, right? Like his 3 touchdown performance, he might not score another touchdown until week 15. I'm out on Dobbs just in the sense of like if you don't already have him, I'm not going and getting him. And like I said to you, like the only reason I lost this week because of this guy, so I'm extra frustrated. But it's like the only reason my brother even started him is because McLaurin was out. Like you're not comfortably starting Dobbs; he just happens to be on your roster.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. And yeah, I mean, you drafted Dobbs late, right? Or in my case, I ended up just picking him up everywhere after kind of the week one, week two performance he had. He's not going to get 3 touchdowns every week, but I think that he and Jordan Love, out of anybody remaining on the Green Bay Packers, of course, Jane Reed is hurt. They have the best chemistry. I was really in on Dobbs whenever he first came on the radar, and he's performing right now. He's wide receiver 18 in all of the NFL. I think that might be the most surprising of all the receivers that we have here. And I'm in, man. I mean, whenever he has that big old fat head because he has the more protective helmet, I feel like that just makes Jordan Love see him better. It just gets
How
him
many
open.
targets do you think this man had last week?
In
Not
the
against
three,
Dallas, against Cleveland.
it was a down game, right? So probably like five.
He had 2 targets. Are you starting that? The week before, an okay 12-point game, 5 targets. The week before, 4 targets. They spread the ball so much. It's great real football. It is horrible fantasy football.
Dobbs rhymes with dubs, and dubs means wins, James.
All
So
right, whatever. All right, all
I'm
right.
all in. Roma Dunze next up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've watched a lot of Bears football. Caleb forgets there's any other receiver on this field besides Bro. Like Rome is what I wanted DJ Moore to be. Rome is just going to keep getting hyper targeted. There, you have to start him every week. There's no reason not to just be all in on him.
Yeah, the sophomore leap that we typically see with a lot of these wide receivers in the NFL is really kicking in for him. He's really looking like Washington Roma Dunze. I was getting a little nervous, man. I was like, damn, am I gonna have to sell all my Roma Dunze stock? Like, he's reminding us that he was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Jamar Chase up next.
I trust the talent. I'm all the way in.
Yeah. I think you have to, right? And like watching that Bengals game last night on Monday Night Football, they're playing one of the best defenses in all of the NFL. Of course, he's getting shadowed by old Pat Surtain the second all night long. He's still getting open, man. It's just, hey, can Jake Browning actually deliver him the ball? I think they'll get that figured out a little bit more. The fire is really on Zach Taylor's feet right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping it going, Tet McMillan.
Yeah, Tet has some of the best catches that don't count because they're like 15 yards out of bounds. But again, this is a talent play. Like this guy is so freaking good at football. And you and I, probably even more so than me, were just not really believers going into the season. Like I was scared the Pats were going to draft him. Seeing what he has done with Bryce and with a very anemic offense, like this dude can ball. He is absolutely as advertised.
Yeah, and I think he has proven himself to be able to kind of be quarterback proof a little bit. And that was one of my concerns with him going into Carolina is like, hey, are the bad habits that Bryce exhibits as, poor footwork, taking too many sacks, is that going to affect Ted McMillan's overall development and ultimately his production? And he's been awesome. He is making highlight catch after highlight catch. Some of them don't count because, they have a holding penalty or Bryce just throws the ball way too freaking high and he ends up drifting out of bounds. But Tet has been awesome. And still, despite being shadowed by CB1s, he is performing.
Yeah, Gonzo kind of shut him down until the end, obviously, because we did some lax coverage. But Ted has no touchdowns yet and is still wide receiver 30, 33. Like, he'll figure it out. I believe in him.
Yep, exactly. Up next, we have probably the most disappointing receiver out of anybody here, AJ Brown, wide receiver 48 on the season, James.
I'm a tentative N because I believe in the talent. I would not trade fair value for him. I would float out like, hey, do you want this guy I found on waivers week 2 for AJ Brown just to see if someone would do it? Like I'd be like, oh, do you want Tyquan Thornton? He scores points, right? Like that's the kind of trades I would try to do, but God, he's got to be a tough start, right? Like you're banking on 20 points or 0 points, and there's no in between for this dude.
Yeah, and I'm out on him for not for like, hey, if I draft him, which I did in some places, like I'm not selling him by any means, but if I get a good offer for him or something like that, it's like, oh, I'm actually thinking about it. Whereas before it'd be, hey, a no touch, an untouchable type of guy. AJ Brown's just really struggling because defenses are really playing high, and he's only getting a couple of targets per game because he's just not open. And I think he's really struggling to get open in that short to intermediate area. And Jalen Hurts is just very happy to just take what the defense gets him, which is a good trait for a quarterback. And Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in all of fantasy right now. I really can't blame him, but it makes it really tough for fantasy production. Jalen Waddle, next guy up.
I'm in just because Tyreek got hurt. I'm still like very tentative just in the sense of like he's proven the past couple seasons that he and Tua don't exactly mesh well.
Yeah, I'm in too. And you point out, hey, he's a good buy low candidate. I think so too. He's not off to a slow start by any means. He's wide receiver 27. Honestly, probably right around his ADP, but he hasn't really set the world on fire either. This guy's had roller coaster beginning to his season. Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm out just because of what he did to me last week. He forced Kyler into 2 interceptions by quitting on a route and handing the ball to the defender. So he's out as a fantasy asset. He's fine because interceptions don't hurt him; they hurt the quarterback. But like, God, did he piss me off? So I am
Yeah.
out on Marvin
Kurt
Harrison.
Warner on Twitter was kind of pointing out that like realistically that interception may have been just on the disconnection between the two because Kyler Murray is so prone to just abandoning a play and just scrambling. And so he was kind of talking about like, hey, that kind of hurts your chemistry with the receiver because your receiver is realistically going to start turning around and starting to block whenever you're bailing on plays every 10 seconds. And then next thing you know, you're throwing a deep ball to him and it just really throws off your timing. So I'm still in on MHJ. I think he's more indicative of what he did in that fourth quarter this past week than what he did in the first three. Michael Pittman Jr.
I'm in just because that offense is better than I ever thought it would be. Like you got him in the hundreds, and he is their actual wide receiver one. So like you're not getting that kind of value, right? Like
Yeah.
so for that reason alone, I'm in.
Yeah, people forget. I mean, he was a top, 3 round pick just a couple of years ago, and then he's oscillated so much in his value. I think Danny Dimes loves throwing it to him, and Danny Dimes ain't really throwing to anybody else besides him and Tyler Ward, which has kind of been a sneaky storyline
Which
in
is
their spot
out on
start.
Josh Downs, way
Correct.
out there.
Exactly. Put that man in his face, unfortunately. Stefan Diggs, your boy.
I would have said out until this past week. He got the most targets of the season. He looked the best he's looked. First 100-yard game as a Patriot. Still no touchdowns. Like when we need a play, Drake is looking for Diggs or Hunter Henry. I would say and Diggs is kind of again just becoming what we thought he would be, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we were like, oh, he's going to be some top 5 wide receiver, but like for the Patriots, he's very good, and
Yeah.
so I'm in.
I think there's too many people though that are like they haven't fully watched an NFL game since like 2019. They have 3 kids. They're just like not able to actually watch a game from start to finish. And so that name brand value is still sticking with Stephon Diggs. So like I just don't feel like I would be able to trade fair value for him. So I'm like a slight out. That 100-yard game though, like you said, that had me feeling some things. All good things. Calvin Ridley.
Dude, I'm so out. And it's not Calvin. It's just like I don't want to start a Titan, right? Like there's nothing good going on there. That is a sad place to be.
Yeah. In my back home league, high school league, there was a trade that was Tyjae Spears for Calvin Ridley. And I was like, oh, so we're just trading crap for crap now. Like, hey, I want your
Mhm.
garbage if you give me your garbage. I'm like, that's tough.
Because like
Bro
even Pollard, who you and I were high on, is like he can't salvage anything even with 15 touches a game because there's nowhere to run. There's nothing to do.
yeah,
It's
he
tough.
he's just volume at this point, and that's the only thing that's able to save him a little bit. Brian Thomas Jr.
How did he? I don't think you're not gonna be able to trade for him reasonably because everyone's gonna go, well, no, I drafted him in the second round. I'll just hold. Um, Dude, he just does not have rapport with Lawrence. It's wild.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to quarterbacks. And spoiler, I'm also out on Trevor Lawrence. I just don't understand where you're going to be able to return the value that you spent on Brian Thomas Jr. or T Law for that matter. Going to the running backs, Woody Barks.
I mean, and dude, that I I think there's a perfectly fine likelihood that this was fool's gold in the sense of the Titans are just bad and we don't see the Texans offense do jack all the rest of the season because the O line is terrible, but he's the kind of guy you blow your fab budget on for sure.
No, fully agree. And it's like, hey, he is just seeing an increase in his overall opportunity percentage. They did just trade away Cam Robinson, the left tackle for the Houston Texans, but also that might end up being addition by subtraction. So I'm all the way in on Woody Marks. He's looking like USC Woody Marks, if you know, you know. James Cook.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in. You and I talked about it. Like, we were kind of laughing. Hey, maybe, when a young player gets a big contract, it just means they're actually good. Just started off right where he left off last season, tutty after tutty, getting 20 touches a game. They're blowing teams out, so he's getting a lot of opportunity. Like, that's what you want out of a running back. So, I no reason to get rid of him, and you're not going to be able to trade enough to get him on your team.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of indicators. I understand why people were like, "Oh yeah, regression on the touchdowns, and you got paid." And it's like, hey, there's some things that could see a downturn here. Ray Davis, I was big in on. He's RB1 this season. He's getting all the touches still, and he's still scoring a ton of touchdowns. Plus, Josh Allen's keeping up his production, also quarterback one. Travis Etienne,
I mean, yeah, he's good old explosive ETN. Doesn't need that many carries to do a lot of damage. Big, long touchdown runs. Like, you're
yeah,
damn lucky if you had drafted him. I mean, obviously, if people thought this is what was going to happen, he'd have been a second round pick again. But that's the fun of it, right?
yeah. I mean, Tank Bigsby's season died so quickly, very quickly. He's like you keep saying, the ultimate league winner. Who was drafted as RB31. He is RB9 after 4 weeks. Brees Hall.
I'm still in on Brees. It's a tough offense to watch, but like the Braylon Allen, like injured now, so like he's definitely not stealing touches. Justin Fields running well actually just opens up lanes for Brees. It's not the best offense, but like who else are you giving the ball to? It's him or Garrett Wilson. So like for that reason alone, I'd say you're definitely pretty excited to have him.
Totally agree. And I mean, he's still producing, especially whenever the game script is positive. He was averaging over 7 yards per carry last night, and their loss to the Miami Dolphins before the game got out of hand in the second half. So, yeah, I'm still in on Brees. He's RB25 so far this season, which is basically where you drafted him. But I think there's still upside for him to get even better. Cam Scattaboo.
I'm a big Scat fan. I think what you saw last week against a good Chargers team is about probably what you're going to expect the rest of the season. 13 to 15 points. You draft him low enough that you're pretty happy with that. So I'm cool with it. Tyrone Tracy's not particularly good at football. I don't see him coming back and just stealing touches from Cam. I think Devin Singletary's alarming, but Cam's still the best running back in that backfield.
Yeah, I worry that the wheels are just going to fall out on this offense. And I think a lot of people are demanding a lot for Cam Scattaboo right now. So I'm a slight out on him. Chase Brown.
I'm a sorta. I love Chase. I love the Illinois boy. Um, I think if you can get him for the right price, go for it because he is getting the opportunity. That offense is just very anemic, and I think the only person I want is a high volume Jamar Chase more so than a Chase Brown. But I'm not like avoiding him.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. And I'm still in on him just because the passes that he's getting out of the backfield are still awesome, and he's making a lot of good work happen. It's crazy. He'll get a pass at like the line of scrimmage, and he's got like three guys that are just corralling around him, and then it's like, oh wait, he actually got to the first down marker. It's like, how did he do that? He just dragged guys for 10 yards. It's awesome. So big fan of Chase. On the opposite end, though, Isaiah Pacheco, I'm very out on him. I
So
think
far
that this
out.
is just Kareem
Uh,
Hunt season, right? At the end of the day.
they're I don't want a part of this backfield at all. I want Mahomes RB numbers over any of their actual RBs.
Correct. Going to the tight ends quickly here. Dalton Kincaid.
Every tight end that you have listed, I'm gonna say in because they're a startable tight end, right? Like Kincaid, I'm starting. Henry, I'm starting. He's the most iffy. I just love Hunter Henry, right? Fergie is tight end one. Like that's the best he can possibly be. Tyler Warren's a dog. Tucker Craft's a dog. Brock Bowers hasn't put up quite yet, but like the talent's there. You're starting him.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. Like if you have any of these six guys at this point, you're feeling pretty good about your tight end position for the rest of the season. I'm just not going out of my way to trade for some of these guys. Kincaid, sneaky tight end three. Hunter Henry, tight end one after 4 weeks. I don't think it's overly real, but they'll still finish as top 10 tight ends on the season for sure. And I'm really worried about Brock Bowers. I mean, that Michael Myers stuff is real. Obviously, Myers was out this past week. Bauer's basically just getting passes behind the line of scrimmage from Geno Smith, and he's not getting that deep ball stuff that he was getting in previous
The,
offenses with the Raiders.
the real out that you should have listed is Sam Laporta. I'm getting further and further out on where I'm just like, was the rookie year just the flukiest fluke year possible? Like I know it's very touchdown dependent, but he's just not getting used the way he used to be for like 2 seasons straight now.
Don't speak ill of my sweet boy. Okay, we got 4 minutes left for quarterbacks. Dak Prescott.
And they have to throw the ball. I'm so in.
Yeah, he's off platform. He's off time. He doesn't have a ton of time for the ball. It doesn't matter. Like he is getting it to anybody and everybody. He made Jalen Tolbert look good this past week, and they're getting Mingo back, Jonathan Mingo, who they traded a fourth round pick for. He's coming off of IR after week 4. I'm all in on Dak Prescott. He's QB 11 right now. I think he's only going to get better. Drake May.
I could not be more in on this boy. I'm so hyped for Drake May.
The legs look great. QB 4 weeks in. Cannot get mad about Drake May. And I feel like he hasn't had anything that's like over the top spectacular that doesn't look real, like a Danny Dimes, for example. So it's been incredibly impressive. CJ Stroud.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. That O line is ass. I am out on CJ Stroud.
Yeah, can't be in on everybody. I'm still a slight believer just because I think that they're going to get healthier at receivers, Tank Dell, for example. But yeah, god damn, I'm hoping that the offense just took a little bit to gel underneath the new offensive coordinator after firing Bobby Slowick last year, but we shall see. Bryce Young.
Kind of out. I love Tet, but I mean Bryce on the good weeks is scoring 10 points. Bryce on the bad weeks is scoring 10 points. Like that's not super startable.
Yeah, I thought there was an opportunity for him to still be a QB1 going into this year, especially with how he finished last year. But goddamn, QB 24 of 4 weeks. Bo Nix.
I'm kind of out at this point. I think we saw his peak as a rookie, and I just don't think there's a lot of upside.
Better showing last night, but it's still just a lot of dink and dunk. And until he actually gets some good downfield chemistry going with Marvin Mims, I just don't really see him stretching the field too much. I agree. Caleb Williams.
I'm pretty in. He's looked good. I think I believe in Ben Johnson, so that's kind of more a vote in Ben.
Yeah, he is QB6 so far this season. Pretty sneaky, I feel like, in his sophomore campaign. He just gets
He's not turning
volume,
the
man.
ball. He's not turning the ball over, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the quarterback touches the ball every single play, but like it feels like plays that are designed for him, that Ben Johnson effect, like you're saying, for him to really do some crazy stuff either with his legs or through the air. Geno Smith.
Out, dude. I don't want any part of that Raiders team.
He feels like a guy this year that's just going to go for 30 interceptions, like a Jameis Winston or a Sam Howell type season. He is just really struggling in that new Raiders offense. And then Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, I don't want it.
Yeah, same. Do not touch. James, run us through our waiver wire ads and cuts.
We already said it. If you have fab budget, Woody Marks better be all of the money you're spending. Kendre Miller, sneaky, exciting 60-yard touchdown performance. Maybe they start to spell him in as it's kind of the writings on the wall for Alvin Kamara. Darius Slayton, that's a U pickup. I'm not that excited on him, but like their
Link
targets have
Neighbors. Malik
Targets
Neighbors,
have to
though.
go somewhere. I just want I want Wandale, dude. I think he's gonna get like 20 targets a game.
That's fair. I
And
thought you were
then
going to say Jalen Hyatt, and I was like, no, Jalen
no,
Hyatt,
no,
bad.
no, 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 no. I want and then Isaiah Bond, who again we have to be very clear. He cleared a jury trial on allegations, so to me that's enough as far as like the passes that you can cheer for him effect. Cedric Tillman is officially on IR. Jerry Judy has been back to regular ass Jerry Judy.
Drops.
Njoku's fine, not great. Their team's going to be down every game of the season. Isaiah Bond is his usage chart has just been like skyrocketing. It looks like Nvidia stock. I think that's it, right? Oh, I
Yeah,
guess we got to cut. Sorry, we got to cut Dylan Sampson. Not sad to say, but it's like, how do you have as much usage as you did week one and then never touch the ball again? Darnell Mooney and Michael Penix just don't work together, and then Josh Downs, as we said earlier, is like just forgotten in this offense.
cut him off. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks, James.
See you.